Welcome to the Blaize interview. My name is Blaize, and this is
Robby Wagner.
Robby. So, Robby, how'd you get into comedy? Like, how'd you get your first set?
Man, it started a long time ago. Actually, probably like 13 years ago. I mean, I'm originally from the Bay Area.
Okay.
So I went to an improv show, actually. Improv was my way into comedy, really.
Okay.
And I was at the same time I was doing theater at my local college. And I just kind of, like, kept with it, you know? I was doing, like, improv at Comedy Sports for a long time in San Jose. And then I shifted. Then I moved to LA, started doing improv at UCB and Groundlings.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was like a improviser sketch guy before I started doing stand-up. And I just kind of segued into stand-up. I think I was just kind of like... I hate saying this, but I was just kind of tired of taking classes. I was just kind of like... I was tired of getting permission to be funny. And then I was like, screw it, I'm doing stand-up. And I didn't do stand-up for the longest time because I was terrified of stand-up. I mean, it is. It's kind of scary at first.
Yeah.
But I love it now. So that's kind of been my thing. I've been doing stand-up for like a year and a half now.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all kind of my comedy journey, I guess.
So how'd you get into, like, the improv scene then? Like, what was your first, like, step into that? Like, were you a theater kid in high school?
No, actually, I didn't. I never did theater. I didn't start till I was like probably 22 years old. So at my local college, that's when I started, doing theater. And I was doing like Comedy Sports, so they had like they had classes, and these classes would have like teams and stuff. So that's how I started doing it. And I always wanted to go to the Groundlings, which I did. And I learned a lot. Oh my God! I mean, it is a great school to go to. But after a while, I don't know. I think I was just tired of classes, and I was like on a bunch of improv teams, and all good things come to an end. But stand up is like it's all you. Everything's on you. Yeah.
Like, I don't really understand. Like, how do you get successful in improv? I feel like everyone who's successful in improv is always a teacher. They have their own class and studio and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it's
not like I never really feel like there's like a touring improv group. Is there?
Second City they have a touring company, but when it comes to they'll do like comedy festivals. Like I know Groundlings does like comedy festivals. I don't know if they like tour a lot.
Yeah.
But they'll do like comedy festivals here and there. UCB I think they kind of just stick to their own thing, their own theater.
Yeah.
But I think actually they do the same thing. They go to, because I remember I would go to like SF Improv Fest.
Okay.
And yeah, you'd see like teams from Groundlings or performers from UCB or just a bunch or teams from Chicago,
Yeah.
But it was a really fun time, but I think after a while, for me personally, I was just like, I was tired of having permission, like, yeah, these teachers who were great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they're just, if you didn't get it right, they kind of like get mad at you or all that stuff. And after a while, I was like, stand-up is just, stand-up. Yeah. It's such a mind screw. It's so maddening. But you just like, I even fell in love with like, I shouldn't say I fell in love with bombs, but I kind of laugh at that now.
Yes.
In these classes, I feel like they don't give you the permission to bomb, like to even have fun with the bomb sometimes. And stand-up really taught me to be like just laugh at it. You just have to laugh at yourself. Like that's the thing I love about comedy. Comedy is so messy. Like, it is. It's not perfect. Like I'm going to do an open mic later. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to kind of hopefully riff off other people's material, and that's that's how we gain premise or material ourselves. But I love stand-up. I think stand-up really has trained me to really be a stronger writer because I constantly write, like on my phone, jot down notes, ideas, and it also helps with like sketching itself because you're always trying to come up with like premises or ideas and all that stuff. But
how is like the improv classes? What did you take out of most of those classes and use in your comedy and like using in your writing skills?
I think for me when I did improv, I think I'll take Groundlings specifically. Mm-hmm. I liked it because it was improv for the actor, in a sense of like it's really point of view and using your space, like your environment and stuff. And I feel like stand-up and creating characters. So sometimes I get really animated on stage, like doing my stand-up. I like to play with voices. I do, impressions of like my grandma or my mom or, whatever. And that kind of helped, me out in my training in that sense of like characters and just having fun with it and being big with it, know? I think a lot of us, this is how I started off, like I was always like shy and timid, like especially doing improv. I was like, oh no, I don't want to mess up. But that's a fun thing of like, I think, especially in stand-up, it's like fucking mess up.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Your mistakes are gold.
I didn't know that you could mess up in improv. I thought it was like you're supposed to improv with it.
I mean, there's like rules to improv, and sometimes you want to stick to those rules. It's like yes and.
Yeah.
Don't ask too many questions. Where are you? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's all that stuff. So that a lot of that goes in your head, and you get a little heady about it. But I think knowing that and now doing stand up, I did a set like not too long ago where all like half my jokes did not hit, but it was so funny in itself that it didn't hit. Like I was just like, well, I fucking bombed, and everyone just, laugh. It's like it did so bad it bombed, and that's what I'm saying with like stand up is like you can mess up so bad and you could still maneuver it to make it funny. But you can also do that in improv. I shouldn't say you can't do that in improv, but that's
comedy
what I love
allows
about
it for more.
Yeah, I feel like stand up is like I don't know. I think it's just I think stand ups almost take. I think, for me personally, I'm going to say that a lot. I think I was able, for stand-up, to take those hits harder. I think as a stand-up comedian, you take those hits way harder because it is just you on stage.
Yeah.
Because, when you bomb with, like, a group, you share the bomb.
Yeah.
But, like, when it's just you take bigger punches, you take bigger hits.
That reminds me of, honestly, high school. It reminds me because I used to do wrestling in high school. So I did football, wrestling, and track in high school.
Yeah.
And, like, especially in track and wrestling, they're very, very, they're team sports, technically.
Yeah.
But it's very, very isolated because when you're on that field, when you're on the mat, when you're on the track, when you're on the shot put ring, it's only you. Mm-hmm. And you're the one who's placing. You're the one who you're the one who wins CIF. You're the one who wins state. Mm-hmm. You can have teams that win state. Yeah. Like same with improv. It's like it's good, but like when you're out there one on one, just you and no one else, it's a lot of pressure.
It is. It's more pressure. And I think at first when I did do stand up, I was so used to sharing that pressure. When I did improv, but as a stand up comedian, it's all the pressure's on me. All of it's on me. And I think for me, I think that makes you a stronger performer of taking those hits harder, taking those bombs. And just, sometimes I still do it. I'll be like, damn, that was rough.
We all do.
And it's so, it's necessary. I think it's important to bomb. Mm-hmm. I think that's so, I think it's, especially early on, I'm early on in my stand-up specifically career. A year and a half in, and I think it's important to take those hits early on because then you prepare yourself for, bigger clubs or, I don't know, TV spots or whatever.
Going back to see your family and they gonna talk shit about you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you're really doing the comedy stuff?
What'd you do last night? I did a few open mics. I killed it though.
It's like, you sure you killed it?
Yeah.
You sure you wasn't trying to kill yourself?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a whole nother story. With your family and stuff, that support. But
like bombing, I always love to ask. Like, I've learned to love the bombing because it's fun. Because you're in there, especially like it gets really fun and it's scary because you're like, fuck, you start sweating. Yeah. You're like, oh fuck, I gotta be funny. How the fuck am I gonna be funny? Shit.
Yeah. You're like, oh, and your mind goes blank, and you're like, and you just see it's just like dark, and you see a sea of faces, like. I did an open mic a few weeks ago, and like the first open mic I crushed. It was one of the one where I was bombing, but everyone was just laughing. It was just like one of those like any little thing you do is funny because you're like in the zone. Next open mic, no laughs, and that's where you kind of freeze up. Yeah, and you're like fuck, and it's like 5 minutes turns into like 50 minutes. Yeah, and you're like, oh fuck, how am I gonna get out of this?
Shocks on the.
But that teaches you how to like. Dig your way out of a hole and try to riff if you can, and that's why I'm always for open mics is you learn how to like riff, or you have your utility belt. You have like I could riff, I could do old material, I could sit there for a minute, maybe not even do anything, and just see what happens. It's like there's so many different ways to attack comedy, especially with stand up. I feel like with improv was more militaristic in a sense because you're on a team and you have like we would have practices and we get together and write. Not to say like stand-up isn't, but that's how that's how improv was. Like we're always just trying to find a routine. So stand-up, that can be hard because it is yourself. Yeah. So that's why I feel like with your what's the word I'm looking for? Like your process, like you really have to hone in on your process and routine. I mean, a lot of success comes from just routine and I'm still trying to figure that out as a comedian. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, what's my routine? You know, you got work, you got life, you have, you know, family, you have all this stuff going on. How can you really hone in and try to become the best comedian you can? And it's just open micing. And I've been slow to book shows recently, so I'm just like, I just got to hit up those open mics. You know,
yeah, because you have to. Because if you just rely on just going to those shows, then you lose a little edge.
Yeah.
You lose a little something because, like, you have to keep just doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you stop for a week and you just come back up, it's just like...
You feel cold.
You feel weird.
Yeah.
It feels like cobwebs. You're like, the jokes feel sticky. The words don't flow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like you have to keep doing it over and over and day after day. It doesn't matter how often you do it. It's just, you got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like learning a new instrument, learning to ride a bike. It's just the first time you do it, it's just hard. It sucks. First time you do anything is the worst time you do anything. That's why I love going to different mics in different like places because there's different energy in different rooms. Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of rooms have different like, especially like the comic only rooms. Yeah. They're very cold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like before Pasadena shut down, I always used to call like Pasadena Comedy the community college of the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was a great place. Like it was supportive. It was nice.
Yeah.
And then you go to Hollywood and it's just like the business world is just like
yeah.
It's just ice cold. And you go into different places, and testing your different material there, you kind of get like different feedback.
Yeah.
So which of the clubs or open mics do you usually like to frequent the most?
Man, I've been frequently the Comedy Boulevard is I think that's a new one. I've been going. I love that one.
Yeah.
The owners are great. I know some of the hosts. They're hilarious.
Yes.
I've been doing that one. Hollywood Comedy was like one of the first ones I started doing. Pasadena Comedy was great.
Yes.
R.I.P. But at least the Hollywood Comedy's still going.
Yeah.
Fourth Wall is like one of my personal favorites. Holy shit, I love Fourth Wall. So they have the Fourth Wall Cafe. And they have the one in North Hollywood.
Yes, the one's right down here. It's right down Burbank. It's on Burbank.
Yeah, it's on Burbank. So those are the ones I hit up like a lot, especially like Fourth Wall. I'm trying to think of other ones. You know, I've been like a month. I've been doing this monthly spot at the Mamba Bar in Huntington Beach. Is a really fun one.
Ooh.
So it feels like it's like an open mic show. It has that vibe, which I really like. That's why I feel like with those open mics I do there, you know, like Fourth Wall and Comedy Boulevard, I feel like it's like open mic, but has that sort of show vibe at the same time.
Yeah.
Like really cool vibes. But I agree with you. I think it's important to sometimes hit up those open mics that are tougher to go to because you really got to challenge yourself. You can't just go to the ones that are like, you know, you feel most comfortable with. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like you have to throw yourself off because you have to be prepared for anything in comedy. Like, holy shit, you have to be prepared. Like, you don't know when you're going to get heckled. You don't know if some comic's going to say some shit to you. Yeah. And that's why it's important to do that. So if you could take the hits, but you got to be able to throw it back.
A good place I always like to say for like that is Accidental Chaos.
Yeah. That's a great spot.
I call it the frat house of comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the Animal House. Like, it's great. It's a great place to go. Like, every time I go there, it's a fun time. Yeah. You know, you always got to, like you said, you got to be expected to, like, go there. And, you know, it's for some people, it's not really their comfort zone. They're not comfortable being in that area. When I was in New York, I went to New York in September for a week. And I went to this one mic. It's called What the Heck Mic. And it was the greatest shit I've ever seen. Every comic I said, I'm going to go check it out. They all looked at me like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to check it out?
God.
So it was great. Yeah. So you get there, you pay 5 minutes, and you pay for 5 minutes. And what it is, it's all crowd work. And I heard the most racist, transphobic, homophobic, just whatever the fuck you can think of.
Yeah.
And worse. And it was great. And so it was great. And the comics are up there, and they're just like, all right, okay, that's okay, I got you, this and that.
Yeah.
So it's just line after line after line after line. It's just like a whole bunch of just wild animals. It's a fucking zoo.
That's comedy. Comedy is a zoo. It's like a circus. You have to. It's messy. It's fun. It's uncomfortable. It's like, I don't know. I think that's the best way to describe it for me personally. I think it's just so messy. And I think as like when I used to do improv, I felt like I had to do a certain thing or I kind of stuck in my lane. Whereas like stand up, I'm like, oh man, I want to like. You first saw because when you first do it, you're like, oh, I just want to get my good material. You're like, I'm just really working on material, which I always do. But now I'm getting a little more comfortable, like doing like crowd work now, or doing, I think you kind of want to like test yourself and challenge yourself. Really, I'm always trying to challenge myself as a comedian, because I think at the end of the day, I think being in your comfort zone is can be dangerous.
Yeah, because then you lull yourself to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't take those risks as much. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important. Yeah, like you said, I think it's important to hit up as many open mics as you can. That's why a lot of people are kind of hesitant to do bar shows. I fucking love bar shows.
They're fun.
Because you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, you'll have patrons that are loud, and maybe I did one where one of my buddies, he got heckled. The guy was just like, "You're not funny," and I was like, damn. And you could tell all the comics were loading up, were
yeah, they're like,
oh,
all
you
right.
want to fucking go with their words, and, well, we're gonna crossbow. They were all gearing up motherfucker. Oh, come and heckle me. You know?
So all right, we got.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, even in the moment, but they had that leeway in a sense, they saw hecklers, so they're like, oh, we're gearing up.
Yeah.
But my buddy in the moment, he was like, well, why don't you fucking come up here and do it? The guy shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was yeah, and bar shows are fun. I mean, you're dealing with drunk patrons.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a crackhead that said it. So it was just this crackhead just yelling at him.
I mean, remember during the pandemic, they had the outdoor mics, the park mics.
Yeah,
park mics. Those are fun because then those you definitely get the real crackheads, homeless crackheads. I remember one time it was the Pan Pacific Park, I think it is.
Yeah, I've done that one.
Yeah. La Brea area. I can't figure where it is, but
yeah.
But I get there 20 minutes early, sign up, right? And there's this homeless dude. He's asleep at the top of the stairs, and he wakes up as he sees more people coming. He's like, "What's going on over here?" He wakes up and he's sitting there, and he's watching, right? And then boom, he starts getting a little closer. He starts laughing a little bit, boom, boom. And towards the end, he's literally standing on the stage. So here's the mic, here's him, and here's the comic. And the comics were all just trying to ignore him. He's laughing in our face.
Jesus,
and it's just and so finally we finish with the mic, and the host, bless her heart, she's like, "Oh, would you like to give it a try?" And he's like, "Sure." Oh. Just talking about Kanye shit, the Jews and the blacks and
Jesus.
And it was just he's like, the Jews and the blacks and all this, don't let the media control your mind. And we're all looking at the host this is your fault, bitch.
Give him his light. Give him his light. And I used to do those outdoor ones.
Mm-hmm. They're fun.
They're fun. Yeah, I think especially during the pandemic, and it's funny, I probably started doing comedy at the worst possible time, during the pandemic. It's when I started, a year and a half ago. But it was funny. You get so, it gets addicting. You're just
mm-hmm.
Oh man, where's the next open? Oh, here, there.
Mm-hmm. And then also you could, your improv is you create a community. You
Mm-hmm.
have friends. You see your friends here, and you see your friends grow. And that's what the thing I love the most about comedy, especially now. With the level that we're at, and the friends that we have, is watching the progression of each other. And and at first, a lot of folks they have that jealousy. It's oh, why is he doing, or why is he doing so much better than me? Blah blah blah. It's well, you don't know what this person is doing behind the scenes. You don't know what who they're talking to, what they're doing, and a lot of work. Sometimes you'll see someone 6 months ago, I'm oh, they're okay. And you see them do the same set, but it's completely different 6 months later.
Yeah.
And it's just so amazing to see the growth. And I feel a lot of folks, especially out here, some people are a little too jealous.
Because especially in LA, I mean, everyone's just trying to compete with each other. I'm just competitive with myself at the end of the day. I'm just always what's my next good joke? I had this great show. How can I keep this momentum?
Yeah.
That's kind of hard. It's a little tough in stand-up because, you're just going to hit those tough shows. Maybe your rhythm's off or the crowd's just not feeling you, whatever the energy is, But again, it's just a muscle. You just have to continuously, work at it. And I kind of like doing it in LA, a big city like LA, because you see so many other people doing it.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of motivates me. It motivates me to be better and better and stuff. So... a lot of my, you make a lot of friends doing stand-up, a few enemies.
We don't need to talk about that.
We don't talk about that, but, you make some friends, and, I've been blessed to, meet you and a bunch of great people, we hook each other up with, time and spots, and what have you, you know?
I mean, every time I go to a mic, I'm just always talking to people. Say, hey, what use mics have you done lately? Have you heard of it? Any new mics?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go try and do the boom mic after this later tonight. So like, I just like to just go and just try new places.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've done this year is every time I've traveled somewhere new, I've done comedy. So I went to San Diego, did a comedy set down there. I went to New Orleans, New York, and it's just like just making connection, making friends, and just like going back. I was really looking forward to going back there again because of all the connections that I made this first tour. So then the way next time I go there is like it's gonna be fun. Like Chip, I forget their name right now. But it was in New Orleans. She is funny as fuck. So she was hosting at the Hi Ho Lounge in New Orleans and won the awards. And it was like a 20-minute walk from where we were to Bourbon Street. And I was outside, we were smoking a joint, and I was talking to her, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking of just walking down to Bourbon Street. And she takes it, you want some Lil Wayne, do you? And I was like, I was like, what do you mean? And it's like, you know that shit he raps about? That's this right here. This is what the fucking shit he fucking raps about. This is the wars right here, motherfucker.
Damn.
She was like, you better lift the fucking Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
She's like, they're gonna pull you by the hair and butt rape you. I was like, all right. All right. I took her advice. At first, I was like, nah. She was like, they're gonna spin your mouth too. And I was like,
God damn.
I was like, all right, Chip. You got me.
That, you know, that's great things of like just touring, but like trying other
traveling,
traveling. Like I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from Oakland originally, so I'm trying to like book stuff in the Bay Area and like because I've just been so centralized on LA, but now I want to go like the Central Coast. I want to do stuff in San Diego or like Vegas, stuff that's kind of like around LA, I guess. But man, like, you just come back with stories, Yeah. And, like, I went to like New York. I've been in New York a few times. Like, so many fun stories there.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. But like again, like touring and just traveling, like that's something I definitely want to do. So like New Orleans is definitely on my list. Like, I want to see some weird shit.
You make it sound so bad. Well, it was all right. I mean, it's a little better than out here. Like, just the buildings are different. Yeah. Puke and more piss on the streets.
Nice,
yeah. It's a little different, but, like, personally, when I was there, because I'm a big fan of art, as you can tell, so I went down, right next to, parallel to Bourbon Street is Royal Street. And I got a whole bunch of, like, art studios there. And so I just got, like, I got, like, 4 or 5 pieces there, and I just loved it the whole time.
Oh, that's right.
So that's what, like, another thing that I've been doing when I'm traveling is I try and buy one art piece. So, like, I went to New Year's, I went to SAC. I didn't have time to do a set up there because it was just New Year. I went up there for, like, a day, and then I came back. Yeah. And we went to, what was it? Hangtown.
Oh, okay.
It's called Placerville now, and I got, like, this little piece of art. It's called, it's actually real NFT. So it's oh wow, it's a better NFT than all these like fucking Bored Apes. Yeah. Because what it is, it's called the you can look it up, bootymix.com. Go bootymix.com, look it up. So you'll see the painting I bought. I wanted to buy the big one, but I had to buy the $75 small one. And so it's just a picture of butts. Yeah. And then he has his website, and he has the Booty Mix.
Oh shit.
So he has like booty, like all songs just about booty. Just songs about booty.
I love art.
So that's a real NFT. Like, do you mean like non-fundable token, I guess? Because you know what I mean? It comes with its own fucking playlist. Yeah. How many art pieces have their own fucking playlist? Not many. Not many. So all these Bored Apes shit, fuck that shit.
That's so random and so specific.
Yeah.
That's what I love. It's like comedic in its own way, but artistic in its own
That's
art. That's stand-up.
I didn't even know that it had its own playlist until I bought it. He's like, oh yeah, just so you know, you go to this website. And he gave me the website and the card and everything. I was like, I started listening to it on my way back home. I was like, this is a fucking bang.
This is a banger, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love booty?
Honestly, I'm more of a booty man than I am a tit man, honestly.
Yeah. I like both, but I guess I'm an ass man. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I've dated girls with A's and B's, but preferably they gotta have the booty. Yeah. Because it's something better to grab on.
Yeah. It's
something to grab on, because you can't just grab on a tit in the middle of public. You know what I mean? But you can grab on a booty in the middle of public. That's a little bit more acceptable.
Yeah. That's more polite. Yeah. To just grab the ass instead of the titties.
I was dating this one girl. We were out at the farmer's market. We were a little tired, so I took a seat. And she was standing. She was standing me, and I just put my face in her breast. She's like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" I left my face in her breast, and I said, "I'm enjoying myself." Now shut up.
I grab my girlfriend's boobs all the time in public. But it's like, it's a comfortability. Yeah. I just grab it and she'd be like, fuck you. And she'll just grab my titties too. I'm like, hey, if you got tits, like, why not? One in Rome.
One in Rome.
One in Rome.
Honestly, my titties are sensitive. I don't like my titties. I'm not a tit man.
Titties I like them rubbed. I don't like my nipples rubbed or, like, touched. Or, that I don't like. But titties are okay.
Yeah, I'm not really, like, I'm not a tit guy. I'm not, like, a have my butthole licked guy either. Yeah. There's too many dudes that talk about getting their buttholes eaten. Especially on stage. I'm like...
Half of the jokes are just comics talking about eating ass.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're eating ass on stage, but then you're going to tell us about you eating ass off the bedroom.
Yeah. I let this one comic went up, and he, like, changed out his... it was during the pandemic. He changed out his mic because, for germ reasons, COVID reasons, and he's like, and he started, like, cleaning his mic. He's like, yeah, I gotta use my own mic. Y'all are talking about eating ass up here. He's like, fuck that. I'm just gonna use my own mic.
Who was that? I feel like I've seen that before.
Oh man, I forgot the comedian who did that. It was at the Hollywood Comedy. It was pretty funny though.
I feel like I've seen that in Pasadena too. Fuck. Oh, that sounds...
The white guy.
Yeah, that sounds...
That's all I remember.
It sounds super familiar. Sounds super familiar.
Yeah.
But so many mics, so many places to be.
Oh, it's a blur. You kind of see a lot of the same people. Mm-hmm. But I always think about this too, like, with comedians, because, a lot of us are struggling, a lot of us are hungry and like, just driven. Like, I'll just see comedians doing, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5 open mics a night and just, like, booking so many shows. And again, that's what motivates me too. And that, I come across a lot of these comedians. And it's like, it's kind of cool to think about, like, I don't know, some of us will make it. Yeah. And I think that would kind of, in the back of my mind, that would, like, terrify me to know that, like, a lot of these comics made it because they put in the work and I didn't. I think that's another layer that goes in my head. Yeah, and again, I think that motivates me. And I don't look at it as, like, because we're all different. We all have different styles. Like, yeah. I think it's interesting to have it, like, we're all competitive, obviously, but we're also freaking different. Yeah. Like, our styles are so different from each other. Like, I just pull from, like, my own life, like, my material, or, like, something randomly funny will happen, or I'm with friends and I write it down because it's something we, like, laugh about, but again, that's kind of goes in my head of, like, man, I want to be that guy that makes it, and so that would kind of beat myself up in a sense of, like, seeing other people make it and I don't. We kind of came up at the same time. Yeah.
So I have like, what is your level of success? So a lot of children, I have this saying I have that I like to say because I think it's funny and stupid. Yeah. A lot of folks want to be 25 with 25 million in the bank and 25 million followers. But that's not really the reality of life. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because most folks don't become successful until their 30s or 40s. Actors, singers, a lot of times. Yeah,
because it takes a long time to own your craft. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes a long time to gain those skills. Like, you don't do it, like, overnight. I love that Kevin Hart said that. Kevin Hart, a lot of people are saying, oh, how does it have to have, like, overnight success? He's like, well, it took me 18 years to get overnight success. And I was like, yeah, it takes a long time. Yeah. Like, it takes probably, like, at least a decade to get good at, like, stand-up in itself. Yeah. And then I think of the business side of it. And then, like, booking shows and how do I make a career out of it? Like, you kind of, like, hone your craft and you're still trying to get better at it, especially with stand-up. It's like one of those you get better at it over decades. But how do you make a business out of it? I kind of wish, like, I kind of wish there's, like, people to kind of show you that aspect of, like, how do you make money off of it? Because we're young and I feel like I've been, early on, I've been exploited as a comedian. I've been kind of duped into doing shows. I say be careful with those, like, the ones where it's like, you win $1,000, $1,000 prize, and you're in a competition, and those kind of scare me because it's like, I had a moment where I went and I was like, I was pumped. I was like, I'm a pretty funny guy. Like, I think I'll do pretty well, But the producer, like, overly booked the show. Yeah. So I'm sitting there for, like, 3 hours. I put in money, my own money. Yeah. That's how they get the money.
It was $40.
$40. Yes,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we have to put names.
I'm not going to put names out there. But this is my experience.
But for those who know, those who know.
For a lot of those LA comedians, you know. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So you put $40 in, and I'm sitting there, with my buddy, my comedy buddy, and we're just sitting there, and we're just waiting for our spots. And they do it by, like, random, like a draw. But, you know, you're sitting there for 3 hours, and you're tired just sitting there. The crowd's tired. All the energy and laughs have left the room.
Yeah.
A show over 2 hours, that's death. That's death. I can't sit through anything for more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know? That's why, like, when I do open mics, I do, like, a bang-bang. I do, like, one right after the other.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like, good, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I am. A lot of people could do, like, 3, 4, 5.
That's hard. You get tired and it's draining.
It's tired. I don't think I don't have the mental capacity to do that.
Yeah.
For me personally, like I maybe it's like different for like professional comedians because they go, they do their set and then they just leave. Like I'm sure a lot of them stay to watch for like an hour, or so. But anyways, I got a little off track. But you know, you're sitting there again 3 hours, and by the time I go up, I'm like, there's no one in the audience. I spent $40 to see to have like 2 people who are there, and they were already comedians. They're not. They're not.
And they're exhausted.
They're exhausted. We're all tired. And, like, halfway through the set, I was like, fuck this show. I was like, fuck the producer. Fuck this show. This show's a fucking scam. Like, I got so mad. I was because what else can I do? I was like, they're not going to laugh at me. And I was just, like, frustrated.
Yeah.
So, I would say just cautionary. And if, you know, producers hit you up out of nowhere to do these shows, like, just be... And you have to pay for it. Just be wary.
Yeah.
And be wary of where you do your shows, you know? I think at the end of the day, it's like... Early on, I was so eager to do a lot of shows, and I think that's important. But also know your worth at the same time. Yeah. You know, you never... I think that's my biggest pet peeve in life is, like, being exploited. So, no one likes to be exploited.
No. So,
I think it's important just, again, like, even, like, on and off stage, always be caution.
Yeah.
Always be... have caution with you. So,
I mean, speaking about that, the same situation is, like, that same person that you're talking about, the promoter, like, I've had multiple... comedians who have stopped talking to him, cut him off completely, blocked him on everything, and it comes back to the same thing with the contest. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like they sign up for the contest, and then they find out, oh man, I can't do the contest. Can I get my money back? And there was a post, one of the fellow comedian, I'm not gonna say the comedian's name, but he posted on Instagram. It's like, yo, LA comics beware, scammer, and he put all in. I think I've
seen it.
Yeah, seen it.
I've seen a few do this.
Yeah.
So this person is not the only person I've seen do it, but it's like I've seen multiple posts actually the same thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know, warning us.
Yeah. And I've had talked to comics afterwards. Oh, I don't see the shows anymore. Or I was like, and they were like, yeah, it goes back to that $40 he still owes me.
Yeah. Well, he owes some. I said he owes some comedians like more than $40. Some of them are like $100 or I don't know how you get past
I don't know. Yeah.
But, it's crazy, and that's why I think that's another layer of the business side of comedy because you got a lot of these comedy clubs or promoters and producers who are trying to, they're trying to make money too.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this specific producer, like, overly books so he could skim money off the top too.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, cool, I got $1,000. I got to put in maybe another 5 to 10 comedians, and then I make the money too.
Yeah.
So then he
just calls more people.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, there's also, like, the bringer shows, and, like, I kind of just like doing the bringer shows because I was talking to another comic yesterday. He said he was kicked out of one comedy club. He says, you're not allowed to come back until you actually bring people.
Jesus.
Yeah. And the dude's only been here for, like, a few months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's tough. That's sort of like, I hope it doesn't, that's a part of the LA comedy culture. I'm not saying that's a whole side of it, but that is one side of it that, yeah, and it's hard because you've exhausted all your friends. Like, I don't perform at those, bringer shows are tough because it's like, at first I was like, able to bring people. I was like, okay, cool, but once you exhaust all your friends and like people, you know, all that stuff, it's like, well, what can you do now? It's like, well, I guess I can't perform there anymore. Yeah. You know? And
it's kind of like it's like when you're playing a video game and like when you're leveling up and you can't get these super like good things and good items unless you like put actual money into the game.
Oh yeah.
Like, you have to spend, like, $25 of your actual own money just to, like, get the good fucking prizes and shit.
Yeah.
Or else you got to spend, like, 40 days a week for 10 years to fucking get it.
Yeah. It's pay to play. You know, that's a part of it. And obviously the open mics are different because I actually like that. I love slotted mics. Mm-hmm. I think it's so, instead of, like, sitting there for hours, you know, them drawing a name out of a bucket. Because you sit there for like hours and you're just like, dude, when am I going to go up? And you just get tired. Mm-hmm. So slotted mics, and I get that. That makes sense. Like $5 to do 5 minutes. Why not? And you're supporting a theater that's like
contributing to the culture.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they have to keep their club open.
Yeah.
But these bringer shows, I mean, it's like, you got to pay for a ticket, and then you got to do a 2-drink minimum.
Yeah. And
you're asking your friends to, like, spend, and then you don't make money off of it.
No. So
that's the bullshit part about it.
That's the thing that's kind of bullshit about it, which I kind of, like, made me feel bad about it, because, like...
Yeah, you feel shitty.
Like you say, it's like you feel exploited. I mean, you understand from the club's perspective, like, oh, what, you can't bring 2 people? What are you? Are you actually a famous comedian? Or, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they kind of make you feel shitty
about
the fact that you can't bring people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, if you want to be a good comedian, you have to be able to bring people to the crowd of the show. It's like...
Nah, that's BS.
You know what I mean? It's like...
They're pressuring you. They're exploiting you. They're pressuring you to bring people... When at the end of the day, it's like you wanted to put on a show. You have a bar. People are going to buy drinks regardless, and we're going to invite. That's what we do. That's what every comedian does. It's not like we don't promote our shows.
Yeah,
like we go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever it is, and we promote. And we're promoting your club in the meantime too. Yes. So it's like we're doing all the work, and there's so many different sites, so many like shitty sides to do in those bringer shows. Yeah. And I get it. If it was just like to bring one person, like. Because, they want an audience, too. Otherwise, sometimes it'll just be comedians.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows like that. But,
But you become a workhorse, too, for that club. And you're like... And then... Here's the thing. I was bringing so many people. I remember one time I brought, like, 3 or 4 people. Nice. Another time I brought, like, 2 people. The minimum 2 people. Yeah. Like, I was I continuously brought people, and then I exhausted all my resources. And they're like, You're already come back when you bring people. Come back when you bring people. I'm like, you know how much money I brought to your club? Yeah. Like, I brought you, like, probably in the thousands.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends that go, they bought food. They bought drinks. They bought,
And that's like $100-something.
Yeah. And you don't see any of that money.
No.
And you put, and I'm going to say this comedian who I love, Mike McFarlane. I love that he does this, like, super supportive comedian, like, funny guy, like, one of the best guys I've worked with. And I love that he says that, like, on top of the shows, he's just, he's hosting, he's like, we're comedians, we're writers, we're, like, actors, we're producers, like, it takes so much work to just put on, like, an actual stand-up comedy show. Yeah. We're the promoter, we're the writer, all that stuff, and it's true. It's like, we put in so much work, and then on top of that, then you have to bring them people, and then on top of that, you gotta promote, and then on top of that, it's like, I don't know. You get exploited at the end of the day, depending on how it's viewed. But, and I get it. Sometimes clubs are just, that's how I would be if I was a club. I'd just be like, just bring whoever you can, I mean, book like a big headliner, and they can bring in, people, and then just have people open for the headliner, That's how the, bigger clubs do it. But, yeah, it's just be careful. It's at the end of the day, it's like, as a stand-up comedian, like, especially early on, like, it's a huge learning curve. And I'm just trying to get good at stand-up. Like, that's kind of my overall goal. And eventually I want to, like, make it into, like, a business. Like, how do I make money off of this? How do I promote myself? So, like, do I have to get a manager to help me out, or an agent, or, all those aspects. But early on, I think it's important to make those connections and, like, like us or people at open mics, and you, like, click with people and you're just you do these check-ins and stuff, and I think it's important to, like, help each other out, I've been a fan of that, like, always just trying to help each other out, because we all, at the end of the day, we all want to, like, put on a fucking badass stand-up comedy show, or comedy show in general.
I've always been a big advocate of, like, helping each other, because as a kid, growing up here in Los Angeles, I heard the old adage is, Mexican worst enemy is a jealous Mexican. I mean, like, your own people are going to bring you down. Like, here in comedy, comics' worst enemy is another jealous comic. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what people are saying behind you. I always try and keep my my nose clean. I always try and, like, make sure. I always try and talk the best about people. There's some people, unless warranted, I'll say, like, I don't feel comfortable around this person. Yeah. There's a few people that I've distanced myself in comedy just because the type of person they are, the way they act around folks. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially, like, I've once dated a comic, I never will date a comic again. That's wow. I will never ever date a comic. I was like, I won't fuck with a comic. No. It's just like, it's one of those things, like, don't fuck your coworkers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't dip your pen in the company ink. Yeah. Yeah. Because we're all connected. Yeah. And the way what you're saying too is it's just karma. I'm like, if I have a bad experience with a comic, I don't talk ill will of them. I just kind of I cut that connection off. Yeah. I'm like, That's a professional way of doing it.
Yeah.
I just try to be as professional about it as I can, and I learned this at my acting conservatory. I'm like, your reputation is one of the most valuable things in your career, because you could say or do one thing and they might come back and hit you in the face and like, oh, this comic did this and all that stuff. So I think reputation is important.
Most of I heard this one thing I heard from one person was Colin Cowherd, the radio host. He said the most important jobs that you get, you won't be in the room to decide if you get it. I mean, because when you go in the interview, it's the person who decides if you're going on a club. It's the person who's deciding if you're going to go on it. And what if you talk to this one person, like let's say you and me had a spat. And someone comes and is like, oh, I'm thinking of putting Robby on. What do you think? It's like, he's a cool guy, but I don't really click with him. Yeah. And they're like, oh, what do you mean you don't click with him? It's like, I don't want to go into details. It's just, he's funny, but I just don't like him. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't click with him. You know what I mean? And then that puts a little thought into the promoter. It's like, okay. Yeah. And then it's going to be like, even though he may book you, he may not book you, but then after that, he's going to be thinking and looking at you weird. Yeah, he may not verbally say it to you. Yeah, but he may in the back of his head, and that goes a long way. That little seed plants a huge tree. Yeah,
I just try to show respect to everyone. You know, like in an authentic way. Like at the end of the day, again, it's your reputation. It's just about respect. I had a really good advice from an experienced comic because we were doing a show together. She's one of my good friends. And we were in the green room, one of these comic clubs, and she's like, I just like to be neutral. In a sense of, like, you're not, like, trying to overly make people laugh, but you're not trying to be, like, you're trying to be, like, respectful at the end of the day. So going in neutral, it's like, don't go in, I guess, trying to, like, overly please people and overly, like, be friends. Yeah. But also don't be a dick. Yeah. I think that's the neutral part. I go in and I just scan everything. I'm observant. I just kind of like, I'll stay to myself. But if you want to have like a conversation, like if it happens to go one way, and we're just chalking it up, like you and me would click so well. Like, of course, we're going to like have a great conversation. I'm not going to be a calm and be like, no, I'm not going to talk to you. Or
that's always funny like I said.
It happens. It's LA.
A lot of comics, they go to mics and then at the end they just leave. Or they just hate when they like dip out early. Yeah, that's the word. Like there's like 2-3 comics left, and then just like I'm gone. Yeah, and it's like, bro, there's like 2-3 comics left. Come on, just take it out. And it's like it's kind of like just like a respect factor, kind of like just like being, because we're all in this together. Yeah, and like I saw yours, you see mine, and then like I like to hang out afterwards if there's time to like talk. Give out information. It's like, like I said, it's all about networking. It's all about making those clicks. It's all about talking. Like, I did the, have you done the No Llores roast battles yet? No. No, those are fun.
That's another thing I want to get into is roast battles. Like, I just want to go see. I just want to go watch it.
Like, if you're a comic, you can get in for free. On Wednesdays, 10 p.m., Ha House.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, 10 p.m. at the No Llores.
Oh, shit. My bad. Wait, turn that off. Fucking spam.
No, that's all good. Spam likely.
Spam likely. Spam likely.
I love that shit. So yeah, No Jodas, Digits runs it. It's really good. The energy's great. I was talking to one of the the panels, the judges, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to roast you so bad." And I was like, "No, please do."
Yeah, that's what I love getting roasted. I'm like, yes. Yeah,
it's like the worst it is. Like if it's a bad one, I'm like, but if it's a good one, I'm like, I like it. Because I want to be insulted and I want you to do it good.
It's the highest form of compliment. Yeah, in stand up. Oh my god, have you heard Supernova?
I heard of it.
Yeah, I went with it, and they get big names. Like Jeff Ross does it all the time, and so it was, who was it? It was Doug Benson and oh my god, he's like my other favorite comedian. I'm blanking on his name. Doug Benson and whatever. I'll think of his name. But we were, I went with my girlfriend. My girlfriend is the source of some of my best material. Like, she is hilarious on so many levels. But we go, right? And it relates to like getting roasted. Like, and we're in the front row. So like we're in the front row, and this one comedian, she's doing crowd work on us. She's like, "Oh, hi, how long have you guys been dating?" We're like, "Oh, a couple of years." Nice. And she's like, "Well, what do you love about your girlfriend?" I was like, "She's beautiful. She's sweet. Like, I love her. Like, a typical like good boyfriend answer." Yeah. And then she goes to my girlfriend, and she's like, "Well, what do you love about him? What do you love about your boyfriend?" And she's like, "His big dick." The whole club lost it. And I'm sitting there like, and I'm like a comedian, and I was like all red, and I was like, oh my god, that was like, I went to 0 to 1,000 real quick.
You were like, you lost.
So every comedian after that was like, oh, you're Big Dick Robby, right? Like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. So, oh man, that was a fun time. Yeah. Pete Holmes. That's
okay.
Some of my favorite comedians in the game. They're hilarious. But, and every comedian after is like, hey, Big Dick Robby. I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's me. Yeah, let's all make fun of me. But I love it. I love getting roasted. I love crowd work because you feel part of the show. Mm-hmm. That's another thing I love about stand-up. It's like everyone's a part of the show. Yeah. Like you're sort of like steering it. You're kind of the captain of the ship, and you're just like, this and that, but you're just talking.
That's also deadly, like especially when crowd work is hard because you're giving them the knife and they can stab you right back.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got to know how to maneuver. Crowd. I mean, I still have not yet like mastered crowd work, but like sometimes if someone says something, I'm like, oh, we're gonna talk about it. Yeah. And then I kind of get back to my material. But
sometimes some people just say some shit and you're like, the fuck was that?
Yeah, you have to call it out. Yeah.
He's like, you're like, all right. Or sometimes they're just super drunk and you're like, all right, just go back to drinking. Yeah. I think one time this one dude was saying something, he was like, I said, all right, go back to being your wife. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to, oh man, that's another thing I love about stand-up is like, you're just so open. You're just so like, it's vulnerable, but it's also like empowering at the same time. Like, I don't know, it's like when you're in the zone, there's nothing like it. It's just, you feel so like, it's like anything you do is anything you do is fun. Anything you do is great, But it's, and that's why I never take stand-up for granted, because you'll kill one show and the next one you're like, woo! Like, you're just sweating, like, what the hell was that? Like, you just but you have to laugh about it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it can even happen within one set. Like, you can open up and it says good, and then you say one joke and then the whole crowd just...
Yeah, you're like, oh, shit. Well, then that's sort of I learned in open micing is like you just call it out. You're like, well, that was a shit joke. Yeah. We'll throw that one away, and hopefully it gets a laugh if it doesn't.
But the thing I hate is like I was talking to my last comic who was on Patrick. He hates and I hate when people attack the crowd like unnecessarily. He's like, "Oh, fuck you guys! You guys suck! You guys are a horrible crowd." I hate that. It was like
that's a tough one because it's sometimes I think if it's that type of comedian who's like an angry comedian, then it could work. Yeah. But, yeah, it could be... Because at the end of the day, you want the crowd to kind of lean forward and, like, oh, yeah, like, you kind of... you kind of want to take care of them. Yeah. But when you're, like, yelling at them, then they kind of, like, go,
Yeah,
they go back. They sit back and they're, like, on the defense. So, that's a hard one, I've never personally gotten pissed. I mean, I think it takes a lot for me to get pissed personally, but... I mean, it could, but you never know what goes on in their day. Maybe they're having, like, a shitty day, and then you're like, you picked on this comedian who's having a shitty day, and you're like... You're gonna feel the wrath of like anger,
like you when you were at that $40 mic.
Oh my god! There's no one there there's no one there to see my anger. So
promoter ain't gonna give a shit.
Yeah. Oh man.
He's out in the front getting drunk.
Yeah, exactly. He's not in there to watch it. Oh man, fuck that show. But. Yeah, I don't know. That is a fine line. I've seen comedians do it where they're like fuck you, blah blah blah. Yeah. All right, where was I? And it's kind of sometimes it is your delivery. I don't know. It's like I'm not a master of crowd work yet.
It's hard to be.
It's hard because it is
a skill. It's
you have to. It's like really succumbing to. I know it sounds spiritual, but kind of succumbing to like the universe. Like you kind of just have to let your guard down, but at the same time you kind of have to like maneuver and be sort of like a ninja and like I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like really like letting your guard down, but at the same time being able to know like when to put up your dukes, I guess.
Okay, be loose.
Yeah. It's like a loose boxer, I guess.
Yeah, like it's like Muhammad Ali, like
because he'll put his and he'll dot. That's a really good way of putting it. Bah. Yeah, and then boom, like boom, jab here, jab there, like a hook or whatever.
Yeah, like Muhammad Ali with his hands up. Bah, 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 bah.
Yeah, that's such a good way to describe like crowd work. Like you really have to letting yourself be vulnerable, but at the same time, your vulnerability is your power.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you got to give him the knife, but doesn't mean it's not double-edged.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, but it's a trip. And that's another thing. Like starting off in comedy, I was so like, I think we get so fixated on trying to be funny, and that's kind of a rule in comedy. It's like, yeah, you have to go up there, obviously make people laugh, but it's like trying not to be funny. I think it's just trying to be the most authentic self you can be. You know, whatever that is. And that's why I think it's like with stand-up, it's a lot of those repetitions. Eventually something clicks. Something you're like, oh, that got a laugh. Oh, I like that word or that punchline. Oh, I like that. So it kind of like it evolves into something pretty badass. So I think it's just go up there and I tell friends who like start off and stand up, I'm like, you know what, just don't try to be funny. Like I think like try to write your best material you can, but like I think just get comfortable on stage. Like get comfortable with bombing. Like get really comfortable with bombing because it's gonna happen. Even doing it years, you know, even the greats like Richard Pryor, he had like a giant comedy special. And he just forgot his set. He was just like, oh, he's coming back from, you know, dealing with drugs and stuff. Yeah. And he came back and he was so vulnerable, and I think he was trying to find his rhythm again. Yeah. And he just blanked, you know, just a giant theater of fans. Yeah. But he came back the next day and fucking annihilated. Like, and that's what makes him like one of the greatest kings of comedy. You know, this guy is just he knew the process so well. You know, he understand. You have to understand that you're gonna bomb, or you're gonna forget you might forget material or all that stuff. You're gonna be out of rhythm, but to go up and that could shake people. Like that kind of shook me. Like I remember I bombed horribly. This was like years ago, just doing stand up, and I was like, I didn't do it because I was so comfortable doing improv. Yeah. And it didn't take me until like 2 years later to be like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking just stick it out. Like,
I get you.
I'm gonna take those punches, those stabs. But that's another great thing I love about stand up is the redemption. You could bomb so fucking hard, and you're like, God damn it, I wanna. You just have that itch to just like, I wanna come back. Yeah. I wanna like. You know.
That reminds me of like sports, like with like football. The difference between like football and basketball. Whereas like football, you play one game a week. And then for the whole week, that determines the whole narrative of, like, everything. Yeah. And then with basketball, you play one game, you suck, you get a chance to go back the next night and do great, and everyone forgets about that shit that happened last night. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas, like, even when you have a concert or a show, it's like, you sucked in, but, you know, you have a chance to come back with comedy. Just come back. Yeah. I mean, I remember one of the first times I really, really bombed was in college. I got flustered. I got caught off guard. So it was, I started doing comedy in college a little bit, and I was at this, was it, I think it was Ann O'Brien's, I think it was the name of the pub. Okay. It was out there in Hawaii. My mom's texting me, she's like, oh, where you at? I'm like, I'm at the bar with my friends. And she's like, no, you're not. Where are you really at? And I was like, I'm at the bar with my friends. She's like, no, really, where are you at? I'm at the bar with my friends. And she's like, no, really. I was like, fine, I'm at home studying, right? Yeah. I'm like, all right, fine, get the fuck off my case. Like, whatever, bye. And she calls me, she's like, where are you? I was like, I'm at the bar, what do you want? And she's like, we're in front of your house. I was like, what? She sends me a picture of my door and shit. I was like, what the fuck? So they come, I was like, I'm down the street at the bar. And so they come to the bar. It's my mom, my brother, my dad, my aunt, uncle, and like two of my cousins, right? All of them. They come in at open mic. They sit in front of me. They sit front row. I'm like,
oh, that's so tough.
That was, and you know, it was honestly like my first like 3 months of doing comedy.
Yeah, you know that's so vulnerable. I mean, to do comedy, I still haven't done my set in front of my family.
Yeah,
like,
so
I have a ton of dirty material.
Yeah, and one of my jokes was about having a tattoo on my asshole. Not, but it's not. So the joke is, it's not having a tattoo on my ass, but around my asshole. And it's going to be a picture of my father's face like this. Yeah. So that every time I take a shit, I get to listen to him talk to me.
Oh, he's right there.
So I changed that part, and I have a picture of my face, so every time I take a shit, I can hear myself talk.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm just talking shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, that was the only thing I changed in the whole thing. Yeah. So it was just like, I was just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
It was definitely rough. It was definitely rough. And then I didn't pick up comedy until I came back here to LA, during the pandemic. I was just like, let's get back into it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, and especially, I mean, I'm 36 now. I started doing stand-up at like 34, which is like kind of late in the game, you know?
Nah, not comedy. I mean, a lot of comedy.
I mean, it's, you know, comedy is, it's
ageless.
It's ageless, exactly.
Comedy is ageless. You can be 5, you can be 15, you can be 55.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see, like, Dave Chappelle, he started when he was 15. And he was going to clubs. His mom, he talks about all the time. His mom used to drive him to the club all the time, and she would sit there and he would wait, and then she would drive him home. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of times like kids. There's so many kids that are great too, and especially with the invention of TikTok and Instagram. Like, it's giving these a chance for younger folks to really get into the game earlier. Yeah. But in a different way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because there's that one guy where all he does, the highest TikToker, all he does.
Yeah, he just. And it's like funny. Making millions of dollars. Just do it. Yeah. He just found a niche. Yeah. He found a niche early on, and like it went up and went viral. You know. Mm-hmm. But stuff like that, here's the thing, and it's a double-edged sword because stand-up is so specific. It's such an art form in itself. Mm. You see a lot of these TikTokers wanted to do stand-up, and I'm like, it's not the same. Like, it's not the same as like guys like us who like grind. We're doing this shit like every day, every other day. Like you know, 3, 4, 5 open mics. How many we do? You know, and that's another thing, and that's kind of a frustrating part too of TikTok. It's Or whatever, you know, social media is like you'll just see people go viral, and now they're getting all this stage time. I've talked about this so many of my stand-up friends. It's like now they're headlining shows, and it's like
Brian Schaub. Brandon Schaub, you remember the Joe Rogan friend dude?
Brandon. Oh yeah. Brandon Schwab,
Schwab.
Is that his last name?
Schaub.
Okay.
Schwab, not Schwab.
Oh, Schwab.
I was used to call him Schwab.
Well, yeah, and I've seen,
his shit's not that good.
That's a tough one because he was like this MMA fighter, like, and Joe Rogan's like, hey, you're a pretty funny guy. Why don't you start doing comedy? Yeah. And he, gained popularity because he was an MMA fighter, not for comedy.
And also because he was Joe's friend.
Yeah. And so he got his first stand special within like 2 years. Yeah. And guys spend like 12 to 20 years trying to get that shit. And it's not good. No. I mean, and a lot of comedians are watching this like, we're like, hey, maybe his friends, they're like, hey, like, we love you, but it's not good. No. It's it takes a long time to get good at.
I mean, he was headlining at the Comedy Store like months, like within a month of doing comedy, he was headlining at the fucking Comedy Store. I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, then you get these people like T.I. is another great one.
Oh, that was he
bro, just getting booed like brutally in New York in an arena. That'd be like if someone came up to me, he's like, hey, do you want to do like rap? Do you want to rap? Do you want to go to the Hollywood Bowl and rap? I'm like, fuck no. Hell no. Like, I'll fucking get I'll get annihilated. Yeah. Like, no. Yeah. And that's what happened. It's like, I respect, like, anyone can do comedy. You know, if he's in this phase of his life, he's like, I just want to do, like, I want to be a comedian. Like, I'm like, that's great. Put in the fucking work, though. Yeah. Go to these open mics. Like, your celebrity status should never use that to get your, like, I mean, you can use it to get your foot in the door, but for comedy, like, stand-up, we love this. We're putting our, like, hearts and souls into this. Like, we're grinding. We're going to open mics where it's, like, me and, like, a host and one other comedian doing this shit. That shit, it's like going, like, the boxing ring and, like, going, like hardcore, like, dingy, like, disgusting, like, on Rocky. Yeah. It's just, like,
I've been to
just training, and these guys, and T.I., like, and this is the thing with him. He'll go to, like let's say Laugh Factory or something. A lot of them are his own fans. They're gonna laugh at him regardless, And that's something he's in a tough spot too, because it's like, are these people laughing at your jokes, or are they laughing because they're your fans? Yeah. So that's a whole nother level that he's got to deal with. But at the end of the day, it's like comedians know what funny is. Yeah. And I like T.I. I think he has a good sense of humor, but it's like, dude, you got to put in the work. Like, go to fucking Hollywood comedy. Like, I would have so much more respect for him or Brendan if they went to
fucking
bowling alley or bowling alley or doing these open mics outdoors or wherever, like in a house, like shit,
in the backyard of a house.
Yeah, in the backyard of a house. That I would gain so much more respect for that, as opposed to like, but it, and it's kind of a backlash in itself, because they're not, when you put in so much work, I think eventually kind of the sky's the limit. I feel like they're gonna cap themselves out somehow. Like, yeah, you can make a career out of it, which is fine, but I don't know. You kind of cap yourself out as like, because you didn't take those huge hits early on.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, like T.I., he got pissed off because he was he roasted some, like, he was at a mic in Atlanta or something. Yeah. And he talked some shit about one of the female comics. Yeah. And then she went up and she talked shit about him, and then he went up and like, oh, blah, blah, blah,
I remember that. Yeah.
It was like at the beginning of the year.
It's like, no, you gotta, man, that's stand up. Like, how are you gonna maneuver that? How are you? And you can't get mad. and he did it the worst possible way. It's like, that's why you got to go in. Like, I remember Bobby Lee said this. I love Bobby Lee.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he was talking about, like, man, when I go in, like, anything, any club, any show, he's like, I'm fucking Deadpool. Like, I got all my weapons. I'm like, you want to come at me? Like, let's fucking go. Like, he goes in prepared. Like, you can't go in just, like, empty-handed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always say, I'm like, always be prepared for anything. And again, that's what those open mics, that's what they train you to do. Doing as many shows as you can, it trains your mind to be super fast. So if like some heckler, some comedian was gonna say some shit to me, I'd say some shit back. You know? I think, and that's another cool thing I fucking love about stand up is made me a different person in the sense I kind of live my life with intention now. Like I
have purpose.
I have purpose. I think it's purpose, and I think it's like it created like a really thick skin for me, especially in LA. It's like one of the toughest places to do comedy or to just live as a person.
Is it? I mean, it's hard because of how expensive it is.
I think, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, like, the people here aren't bad.
They're not that bad. No.
Nah, it's only like the people who work in like Hollywood.
I think it's just Hollywood in general. I'll rephrase that. I think it's just like working on, like, I work in a grocery store the past like 6 years, and it's just, yeah, and again, it's like you can kind of prepare for anything. And I talk about in my stand-up, like, how customers have, like, fucked with me, or they'll, like, I get heckled at my fucking job. And I'm like, oh, shit. And before, I'd be like, oh, like, what? You know, kind of like, well, you don't say that. And I'm like, oh, you want to fucking go? Let's go toe-to-toe. Let's hash this out. You got something to say? All right.
All right, Robbie's going to get fired for his job, for talking smack some little Karen.
Bring it.
Like, he goes like, Robbie, you caught her a picklehead bitch.
Well, she had pickles in her hand. She was a bitch. But and that's what stand-up is done. Stand-up really gives you like a thicker skin and like a shield and a sword, and like you kind of just don't take shit from anyone. That's why I think if I could distill it down to something, what stand-up has taught me, it's like it really teaches you to be a badass. You know? To really think quick on your feet, and yeah, just don't take shit. Like, I don't take shit. Like, I'll get heckled. Maybe like I won't come out the winner, but I'm not gonna go down like a bitch. You know?
Don't go down like a bitch.
Don't ever go down like a bitch. Like, say something. You know?
You gotta at least swing.
Yeah,
swing. Even if you miss, as long as you
swing. I mean, I'm a comedian. We're comedians. We'll swing and miss a lot, but
yeah,
you get quick with those swings. You know, you're bound to like hit.
Yeah, because it's hard. Like, people say some of the random shit everywhere. Yeah. Like, especially like we talked about earlier, the homeless folks, the crackheads.
Oh my god.
And this shit they say is like,
yeah,
it's better than anything I could ever think of.
Yeah. Have you tried doing stand-up? Laugh Factory's right across the street. Man, but no, I think that's another layer of stand-up that I love. It kind of taught me to like thick skin and have fun with it. Like, really own yourself.
I hate comics who don't laugh at comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I go to mics all the time. I go talking about being in Hollywood comedy. Everyone's, you know what I mean?
It's so serious.
And I always sit in the first two rows. That's what I always try and do. I never sit in the back. I hate how everyone's like fucking like it's middle school again. Like, everyone's sitting in the back of class.
Yeah.
Like, grouping up.
Yeah.
I was like, just sit in the fucking front.
Just have fun with it. You know, that's what I think an aspect of, and I know like not every open mic's gonna be like that, but I think that's why I like Comedy Boulevard and Fourth Wall a lot. Is like, I'll go there and it's just like the hosts are great and they just like they make sure everyone's having fun. Like, yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We want to have fun. We go there and we'll kind of roast each other a little bit, or like we'll like riff off each other's material. Like, we just get fucking weird and crazy. That's what open mics are great.
I hate hosts who take too long during each fucking comic.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've been at a few shows where like the hosts would like go on for 2-3 minutes in between each comic. We're like, dude,
just go to the next one.
Say one joke at max.
Well, that's why if I'm hosting, I'll do like my material at the top. Like, let's say everyone gets like 10 minutes. I'll do like 8 to 10 minutes at the top, and then the transitions, I'm like fast with it. Yeah, because now it's like I got my I'm like blah blah blah. Maybe I'll make like one little quick zinger off what they said, and then I go to the next one. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I hope the butthole's really clean.
Yeah. Welcome to the stage. Yeah. And it's just that drive. I mean, comedy has a drive to it. So.
Yeah, it's about pacing, and like we're talking about, like if a show goes on too long, I feel like the a good set, like a good time frame, like you said, is 2 hours, hour and a half.
Yeah.
But like
Perfect.
maximum, I think you have to have, if you're only doing like 5 minutes each, like 15, 20 people max.
Yeah.
Tops. You know what I mean? Like if it's like anywhere like 10 minutes each, then like 10
it's gotta
people.
be like, yeah, exactly, 10.
Like,
Because for me, I really, after 2 hours, I clock out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I've laughed all I could laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, it's like, where are you going to watch? That's why I like with movies. I'm like, do you want to watch a 3 hour? I mean, you can maybe, but you might have to take a break. But for
Like
me
the
personally,
Batman
it's
movie?
like, yeah, I kind of clock out after 2 hours. I'm just like, and I'm kind of an antsy person to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of like, all right. And it's like, 'cause I love that you said that earlier when you were like, oh, I hate comedians that like do their shit and then they leave immediately.
Ugh.
It's rude. I think it's rude. It's interesting because I'm still trying to learn. So
Yeah.
I'm learning just from watching these other comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Like regardless if they're bombing or like killing it or whatever, I stay behind because I want to watch. I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to absorb as much as I can.
Yeah, every time I see something and someone brings a new premise, I'm like, oh, I like the idea they got there.
Yeah.
Now how not that it's stealing, but I was like, okay, how can I take that similar thing and to do something similar to that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want to try, and I try like when you first start out, it's a lot of mimicry. I mean, until you find your own flavor. It's like anything you do. If you do music, you do comedy, you do art. In the beginning, everything you do is mimicry, and then after a while, you mold your own flavor and your own style. Like some comics, they're the sit-down comics where they grab the stool and they're sitting there the whole time. It's like, how you guys doing? All right. Some comics, they're like, woo, how y'all doing? Y'all doing good, hey.
Yeah,
I mean, they're like
crazy,
fucking going up and down, and it's like there's two highs and two lows. Like I mean, I was talking about like I kind of want like a little bit of peaks and valleys in my set.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's a great laugh, and then there's the low and the joke, bah!
Yeah.
Joke, yeah. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's the kind of way like I want to. I try and make my like sets do it to like the flow.
Yeah.
The flow of it, and something I've tried to do also is trying to like for like a 5-minute mic, I try and do a callback so the first 2.5 minutes and my last 2.5 minutes kind of mirror each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So that's like a writing tool that I've used in my own like sets that I try and develop. Like I'll make a set and I'm like, okay, I want to make a callback to this. How can I make a callback to this?
Yeah.
Like trying to make it like the first joke and the last joke end the same way, but not the same.
Yeah. No, that's funny you say that because I was just thinking about that. I was like, fuck, I have this joke and I really love it. I'm like, I can't think of a punchline though. It's like it has like a really good build.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, the callback's the punchline. I'm like, sometimes it's like just that simple. I think so, we get like a little overheady sometimes with our material, but I was like, fuck, it's just the callback. Mm-hmm. But it's so interesting. I even love the process of stand-up. I love every aspect of it. I love the ugliness of it too. But
it's so ugly.
It's tedious. It's ugly. It's like being in like a. It's like being in a relationship, really. Like
it's an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's an extremely abusive relationship. It's toxica. But it's so much fun. I mean, it's edgy. It's dangerous. It's fun. But with me like writing, oh man, that's a whole nother thing. I think I don't really force it. I know people are like, you need to write every day or do open mics every day. I'm not that type of guy. I think just do it, like you said, do it at your own pace. Like you can't force great art. You can't just be like, all right, I gotta sit here. All right, what do I gotta do? And that's why I kind of like when I'm out and about, I'll have my phone on me and just write whatever is funny. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit. And so when I actually do go back, I'll have those sessions where I go back and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, oh fuck, all right, I'll write it here. But I also have writing partners. So I run my jokes by my best friend and my girlfriend a lot of the time because they come up with some like really killer punchlines or like maybe it's like this idea doesn't work, but maybe we could flip it this way. Yeah. I think it's important to have a writing partner, personally.
Yeah, not just one. You have to have like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it's important to have other writing partners because you're just one brain. You can only think of so much. But yeah, and I've thought of great stuff and and just keep working on material. Like I had this new Vegas material. I was in Vegas and it was doing okay, but then I was like, fuck, here it is. And I just like rewrote it. And it's doing so much better. And it's crazy. It's like you'll have a joke that you start off with like, I don't know, like I've been doing it a year and a half and I'm still working on my jokes for a year and a half. Yeah. I really loved this one comic said, he's from Cleveland. He was just visiting in LA. I love that he's like, you know, he's like, I'm a slow writer. So what that means, he's like, I do the same 5, 6, 7 minutes. Like, I do that for like 5 or 6 months.
Oh.
Just do it a lot. And then you get it in your bones, your body. But then again, it evolves into something
different.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Because I've told the same joke like for a year. But the joke has changed so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the inflection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way, like, I'll switch this word to that word.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or I'll switch, this part needs to go here.
Yeah.
And it's just playing with the words.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's funny because I'm dyslexic.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, remember I told you about, like, the Tic Tacs and I'm in the thumbtacks?
Oh, yeah.
Like, stuff like that, for me, it's like, I'll mix and jumble words up, and so it works with my kind of flow.
Yeah.
Because people, they understand that, like, well, that's different, but, like, why is it different? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I love, like you're saying, the ugliness of it, and, like, chipping away.
Yeah.
Because no joke is done.
Yeah.
Because the second you think a joke's done, then
it's never done.
It's never done.
That same joke I probably worked, like, my first material, I'll probably be still working on it, like, 20, 30 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still won't be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're never satisfied as a comedian.
Like, one of my first jokes is talking about, like, aliens. And talking about, like, E.T. has more rights in America than me as a Mexican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that.
Not
Like, so it's like that is. I want to get back into that ET thing. I haven't written it or talked about it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
But like, it's one of those things. Like, I think about it all the time. It's like, it's not funny enough. Like, I want to make it funnier.
But it's so interesting you say that, because I was, you know, sometimes I'll be doing a set and somehow, like, and you're kind of riffing or whatever, and maybe you're doing your material, but some joke that you thought of like way late, like early on, it comes and hits you in the head, and you do it, and you're like, oh my god, it's better.
Yeah.
I think because sometimes you get in that zone, and you're like, oh, it kind of hits you over the head, and you just say it. Sometimes in stand-up, you just say something. Yeah, that's like a really cool part of stand-up too. Is like sometimes it just comes to you out of nowhere, or that punchline. Man, when you find that punchline in the moment in a fucking open mic, that is like the greatest moment. You're like, there it is. I've said that too. Or I'm like, there's a fucking punchline.
Yes.
There it is. You know?
Yes. I know that. It's like it's almost as good as ejaculating.
Yeah.
It's like
punchline.
It's honestly an orgasmic emotion.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's thrilling.
Yeah, you get it, and you're like, oh my, and you're like, you get excited. It's like you hit the game winner, and it's like, I got it, I got it. It's the money shot.
That's what it is. That's what your punchline is. It's your money shot in the moment. Like, oh man, it is. So, but I love stand up.
All right, man. Rob, we've been here for about almost an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. But I've been loving having you on. It's great. I definitely have you on again. I want you to tell everyone where they can find you, how they can find you, Instagram, YouTube. Where are you most located at?
Oh man, so follow me on Instagram, Robby Bobby 32 comedy. What else? I'm Robby Wagner, ROBBY. WAGNER, Robby Wagner. I mainly post a lot of my shows and stuff on Instagram. That's one of my main.
I feel like Twitter's dead.
Twitter, I mean, especially recently. I never really used Twitter to begin with.
Nice.
I was always just Instagram because I like, funny videos. And
I didn't get into Instagram until I went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And so I went to college, and then I started using Instagram.
Yeah.
Mainly just to flirt.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to another comic the other day. It's like, I don't have males Snapchats. I only have female Snapchats.
Yeah.
There's only one reason to have Snapchat.
That was the social media. Social media has just become porn.
It's just, has it not always been porn?
True. Yeah.
I mean, I stopped using Tumblr when they switched over managements and they said, oh, we're taking the porn off. I was like, I'm done with Tumblr.
They probably lost all their followers.
Honestly, that's where I found out about furries. Well... Do you remember the first time you saw furry?
Yeah, I was like, "What is this shit?" It's so. You're like, "Oh my god, is this real?"
Yeah, I was dating this one girl. She's from back east, and she would show me around her hometown, right? And everywhere we went to, we were like walking downtown, like all the shops, all like the landmarks. She said, "Oh, I love this place. I love this place." Right behind us, like 5 minutes behind us, everywhere we were at was this furry couple.
Oh my god!
And she was pissed. She's like, "I don't want to share this moment with you and these furries." So it's just like this southern town with the furries. It's like this real southern town.
Yeah, real southern.
Like
I've never seen one in person. I mean, I always see them online. But
I've seen a few people here in LA.
It's like seeing a dinosaur, I guess. I don't know.
Honestly, it kind of is. It's like they're real.
They're real. Oh shit! It's like seeing Sasquatch, I guess. I mean, they kind of are
like Sasquatch.
They're Sasquatch.
There is a Sasquatch furry. I'm pretty sure there is. There has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many fetishes and kinks and things that people like.
Well, it's evolved into, I don't know, I want to say evolved, but it's sort of transformed, especially social media, into like, it's just porn. I mean, you go on Instagram, it's just Instagram or Twitter. Or
OnlyFans.
Twitter, I was like, I didn't know this because I don't really go on Twitter a lot, but Twitter was like, yeah, you should watch porn.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
They have a huge
I thought Twitter porn. Was just like, you know, kind of tweet what's going on. It's like, oh no, you could. And I had a really good, funny conversation with my friends, and he's gay, and he was just like, oh yeah, I have like alerts on like this porn just came out, or on Twitter. Yeah. I was like, what? You get alerts for porn?
Yeah.
This is wild. We are living in wild times. Like, it's just like, ding, here's a new porn. Like,
I mean, OnlyFans, they're trying to get away. They've been trying to pull away from that porn thing. And the thing I find funny about it is like they've been trying to get comics to be on it. They've been trying to get like cooks to be on it.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to get like other professions like handymen to like, oh, like OnlyFans, like see me work. I was like, nah.
But everyone associates OnlyFans with porn or like feet pics, which is fine. I'm like, just own it.
Honestly, I prefer Reddit. It's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta get on Reddit. I hear a lot of good things about Reddit.
I'm not really into it for the reading of the columns. I'm just into it for the nudes.
Yeah.
That's how, like, remember...
You heard it there, folks. He does it for the nudes.
It's for the fappening.
The fappening?
That's how, like, remember when the fappening came out?
Happens.
Yeah, when the fappening happened, when all the celebrities' nudes came out.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I found all the That's where I found it. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, one of my college friends were in class. He's like, we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, you heard about all of them? He's like, yeah, you can see the videos and shit. And I was like, nah. He's like, I'll send you the link. Yeah. He sent it to me on Reddit. I was like, my boy. My boy.
Dude, I almost want to come out with like an OnlyFans. Like, it's just...
I thought about it.
I'm so tired of working. I'm just like, what's her face? Bad Baby? Has made $50 million off of OnlyFans.
And she's like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And like when she made her OnlyFans, she got like 1 million subscribers that first day.
Yeah. She made millions of dollars just like the first day. She just talked at Oxford University.
She talked at Oxford?
Yeah. I'm not joking. Let me Google this. Right
no, she didn't.
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
She did.
That's like Pamela Anderson talking at like fucking Oxnard. Fucking like what's her
Bad Baby talks at, I think it was Oxford.
Oxford?
Talks at Oxford University. Oops.
Uh-oh.
Bad Baby gives speech to Oxford University. Yeah, she
about
gave a
what?
speech.
About what?
About being a bad bitch, opening up OnlyFans. Really, like this country, I mean, especially the social media, and this is why I don't like the side of social media. It rewards bad behavior. Like this girl was on Dr. Phil, popping off on her mom, like cash me outside, created this persona, and everyone's like, oh, this shit's kind of funny. And she's like, oh, you know what? Now I'm gonna start rapping. Oh, you know what? Now I'm gonna start modeling. Now I'm gonna have like sexy pics on OnlyFans. And I'm like, what? This shit's crazy.
No.
I don't know. I don't know how to. And I kind of have like a material about that. I mean, about like Instagram hoes and all that stuff. But
I respect it. I respect the hustle.
Yeah.
I just like it.
I think people, and I think it's kind of cool in a sense of like. I'm a working class. I'm just so tired of working. I'm like, when am I going to get my big break? You know, I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to open OnlyFans. I'll take pictures of my feet.
Do it.
Want to see my feet?
I'm okay.
You know,
I'm okay.
But there's some fetish people out there.
I work with feet all day, so I'm good. I know. I've seen some nasty fucking feet.
Oh.
Like some people, they need to learn 2 things. They need to learn water and cocoa butter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially with these white girls with Birkenstocks, with no socks.
Oh, yeah. That goes a long way. Yeah. Just take care of your feet. It's important.
Yeah, no, people don't know how to wash. People don't know how to bathe themselves. Too many people don't wash their hands good enough. People don't wash their ass good enough.
Yeah, people don't put on deodorant.
No.
I mean, I was working at my grocery store and like and there's a gym above me. There's a gym right in the plaza I work, and just like some people come in and the BO just like hits you. I'm like, what the? I'm like, deodorant, soap, water goes a long way. Yeah, just deodorant. I'll just be like, damn, it like punches you in the face.
I had one client. She walks into the room. And I was in the back room, and as I walk up to her, I was like, hi, my name's... Before I could say my name, Blaize, the stench... I was wearing a face mask at the time. Stench went to the back of my throat and caught me. Caught me.
From her body?
From her body.
Oh.
Like, she walked from,
and
like...
you're wearing a fucking face mask, too.
I'm wearing a face mask. So, literally, she walks 5 feet into the building, right? She's standing there for, like, a second, and I walk up to her for, like, 10 feet away, right? And I was like, oh, hi, ma'am, how may
oh my god!
Caught me in the back of my throat. I was like, oh.
She was like, her stank punched you in the throat.
Her stank, just like.
Oh my god!
And then obviously my profession was like, it's just one small window and it's just like a 6x6 frame room.
Yeah.
And I got to be in this room for 90 minutes with this person.
Oh.
Just 90 minutes.
I would just spray so much on
that.
I
did. I did. Like, it was funny.
Oil spray.
I walked out the room and my boss was like, go outside. She's like, why? I was like, why? It's like, you have the aroma stench around you.
It was that bad?
Like,
it got stuck on you?
I walked outside and I walked for like 10 minutes in a circle, just like, I wish I had extra clothes too. Like, it was just.
Dude, if I ever get a massage, I always take a shower before I go in. Like,
people don't. People don't.
Or just like smell like put on deodorant. Like, yeah, you're like so intimate with this person.
People come straight from the gym, like you said.
Oh my god!
Like they go, oh, I just came from the gym. I was like, get the fuck out.
Yeah,
get the fuck out.
With me, it's more understandable because they're just getting groceries real quick and then leaving. But to get a massage, to do that and then get a massage,
90 minutes.
Fucking
90
fuck people.
You know, even was this person?
I hate people,
she came in with like this tube top and it's like bikini bottom with like this see-through sheer top, and I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
So she takes off just the sheer top, and she just has the tube top and the bikini bottom on, which is whatever, fine. A lot of folks just do that. But afterwards, there was just a black imprint from their clothing. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dirty.
Just like
dirty assholes.
Exactly. People were just dirty. People don't know how to clean themselves. So that's why, like, COVID happened. I was like, yeah, I haven't been touching people's hands for years.
Oh,
like
man,
I was always just pushing you.
Yeah. Or fist bump. Everyone fist bumps now. Yeah.
It's back to the fist bump. I remember people used to do the hand clap.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now I only hug people I know. Even then, it's kind of like.
Like, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What's your name? Cool.
And it's so weird that COVID did that, because now I like sanitize my hand, like after every exchange, but like I feel like it's kind of a dirty person, I'll just go.
Beforehand, remember that used to be like an insult, like if you shake someone's hands and then you do it. It was like, oh, what's wrong? Am I dirty? And I was like, no, just have a habit. And then, like now it's like everyone does it.
Yeah, it's just germaphobes after COVID.
Like I grew up in a Diamond Bar, which is very, very Asian centric. So like. Even before COVID, folks were always wearing masks out there. Mm-hmm. So I was used to like people wearing masks, and like that wasn't new to me because in the Asian culture, if you're sick, like they're very into like proactive care instead of reactive care, like here in America.
Oh, okay, damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. It's just different cultures, man. Like like Asian cultures and American cultures, and Mexican cultures. It's like there's so many just different varieties of cultures here in LA. Like I always say, like you drive 5 miles, you went through 5 different neighborhoods, and you went through 5 different cultures. Like there's nothing similar. Like each block is so different.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing is the same. Like you can't. LA is so different than everywhere else because we're such a melting pot.
Yeah, it's such like we're so many different travelers. Like especially I work in Hollywood, like West Hollywood area, so it's a lot of different cultures coming in and
people from all over America, all over the world.
So if you get like a flu, we get some gnarly flu. I mean, flu season's coming up, so I gotta get my flu shot soon.
They said supposedly this year is supposed to be like worse than the previous years.
Yeah,
because
people are more relaxed about COVID, so they're probably just done wearing masks. But now it's I am too. I don't wear a mask at work. I probably should, especially like coming across so many people.
Yeah.
Like it's like a petri dish.
I said this one of my friends after I got the vaccine. I started wearing the mask. Like, why you stop wearing the mask? Like, because I'm vaccinated. It's like, oh, so you can stop wearing the mask? I said, yeah, because that was the point of the vaccine.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
I was like, I got vaccinated. Oh, so you don't have to wear the mask anymore? It's like, yeah. I was like, aren't you worried about getting sick? And I was like, no.
Yeah. No.
No. Fuck this shit,
Yeah,
man.
right?
I remember COVID, like, before we got lift the restrictions, I would walk into places without masks. And it's like, Jimmy, do you have masks? I said, no. And it's like, you have to get one. I said, go get me one. I was like, oh, they're in the front. I was like, well, get it for me. He said, well, you have to go get it. I said, well, you go get it for me.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you got it. I was like, I'm continuing my shopping, so you go get it for me.
Yeah.
And they'll come back.
Yeah.
I had one time, this one dude, he was like 18, 19-year-old kid, right? Little white boy. I comes, hey, man, I'm looking for this. He's like, mask.
Oh, my God. So dramatic.
I was like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
All right, dude. And he walks away, and then he brings the manager. He's like, "Excuse me, so you need a mask?" And I was like, well, go get me one. So he's in the front. Go get it for me.
Yeah.
I'm doing. And he's like, oh, you're an asshole. I was like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. I
had to wear at my job, and that's why I got the vaccine too. It was just like I didn't want to wear the mask anymore. I don't wear the mask. I probably, maybe I should at certain points, but I feel like if it starts getting, it's hard because I work in a grocery store, so it's like I feel like I'm bound to get it. I just had a cold like last month, so yeah. I mean it's kind of it's kind of bound to get it. But
I mean everyone gets sick, man.
Exactly.
Everyone gets sick. So like, mom, she like 3 months ago, she got COVID, and I called her. And I was like, hey mom, how you doing today? She's like, I'm at work. Yeah. Okay. How you feel? I'm working. Yeah. Are you doing okay? I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool, mom.
Yeah.
I was like, I love you too, mom. Bye.
Make that money, mom.
Honestly, it's like back before COVID. Like, if you're sick, you're at work. Unless you're dead, coughing, or bleeding. I mean,
yeah.
It's like you gotta puke, you gotta bleed, you gotta there has to be like an excess from the body for you not to be at work.
Yeah.
Because like that's just how it is. That's how my parents raised me. That's how my parents are. Like, my mom had cancer. She was still at work. So she should have chemo treatment, work. And that's just how it is. That's just like, especially when you own a business, when you own the company, when you're doing everything. That's just life. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Damn, respect. I get a call. I'm like, I can't come in today. Achoo!
I wish. If I don't work, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I use a sick day, but still, I mean, I probably could go in. I don't know.
Just wear a mask.
True, yeah. Because I had COVID earlier this year, and I had to go back to work. I took time off, but luckily, like my job gave me COVID pay. Yeah. But I still had like the residuals of it, so I had to wear, I had to wear a mask. Yeah. So, but that, yeah. It sucks, but you gotta, sometimes you just gotta work through it. You need money at the end of the day, so.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have money living in LA. LA is not a city you can be poor in.
Especially with inflation. Oh my god, man, it's kicking everyone's ass. Like inflation and like gas prices. It's
everything.
Like, dude, I didn't get a raise, so it's just like now I'm really feeling it. I'm like, good god, that's why I want to start OnlyFans. Like, I need to get paid, people.
We on it. The concept, LA Comics, we need to get paid.
We need to get paid.
Clubs, start paying us for fucking bringing people. If they paid us for bringing people, I'm there.
Yeah, give us half the profits because we brought those people.
Yeah, you know what? Pay us.
Yeah, pay us.
Hashtag pay us.
Hashtag pay us.
Let's finish there, but hey, Robby, thank you for coming, man. I really
thank you, man.
You. Once again,
really
you
fun
follow
podcast.
At Robby Comedy.
Robby Bobby 32 Comedy.
Robby Bobby
on
32.
Instagram.
Did you open it when you were 32?
No, I just like the number 32.
It's a good number.
Yeah,
it's a good number. All right, Robby Bobby 32 Comedy. Take care, y'all.